One Zambia, One Nation, and thanks for joining us on Zanis News. To present, my name is Juliet Mdale. Top stories in the news. Over 50 farmers trained in smart agriculture. Regional integration key to achieving meaningful development. Presidential Mentorship Initiative to empower 7,000 cooperatives. And Department of National Parks reaffirms commitment to protect wildlife. Zanis News in detail. President Hakainde Hichilema says his administration will collaborate with all stakeholders to realize the country's development agenda. Mr. Hichilema says it is only through collective efforts that the country can develop to desired levels. Abigail Kashweka reports that Mr. Hichilema was speaking in Nyemba district.
He resounded the One Zambia, One Nation motto to emphasize the importance of having a united people in advancing the country's development agenda. President Hakainde Hichilema wants Zambians, especially those in positions of authority, to work together in developing the nation.
Our job now, together with our mayors, independent mayor, MPs, independent MPI, whether you are UPND minister, is to work for the people of Zambia, to deliver for the people of Zambia. No DC must watch a camp officer stealing fertilizer. We are going to do this. No cooperative chairman has eaten the fertilizer Emma members. How can the president be here in Nyimba to check the cooperatives, how they are performing? I'm relying on the people that are here right now. So we, the councils, let's work with the MPs as one. In Jankani yakuti mayor wamenyana na MP museme area. The competition. Muchizungu tikambati complementarity. You Farmers Union National, work with the District Farmers Union, work with the Provincial Farmers Union. We want to work as one.
The President's Council also extended to include the importance of having a changed mindset.
The government is doing its work. Our people must change their habits as well. I know I don't want to offend people. Even kumwa tizimwa pangono bizandala mabinango bakula mbuto tabula fertilizer tabula chaki muzao na tizangala na ndara amapakomo 2, 3, 400 kwacha per airtime alipa social media TikTok itandala mamunga kule fertilizer. You can swap talk time every time with kasakaka mbuto mbeo nibaona ngwenya malima mumunda ndati ya vantu vazakopera kuona the Royal Highness what is doing. Royal Highness is teach your people how to spend the money, how to use the money. That is our job as leaders at the traditional level. Even my headman Zambia. We need to change our attitudes as citizens of Zambia. I'm not ashamed to tell you as your servant number one, because that's what will change this country for the better.
The host chief also addressed the gathering that saw President Hakainde Hichilema launch the 2023-2024 planting season.
Your Excellency, I say thanks so much for your coming and for the encouraging ways that you have given us. What His Excellency is saying is to encourage us to be examples in our chiefdom in terms of farming. This is the more reason that His Excellency, with his team, have decided that whatever resources are available within government must be distributed to all of us through the program of CDF.
This event was attended by Paramount Chief Mprezeni, various chiefs from different parts of the province, and senior government officials, among other guests. Abigail Kashweka, Zanis in Nyemba.
Meanwhile, Mwangala Kapandula reports that the ecosystem-based adaptation project has trained over 50 farmers in Zambia District in smart agriculture for sustainable development. Let's take a look.
The Ecosystem-Based Adaptation Project, EBA, in partnership with the Ministry of Green Economy and Environment and other line ministries, is training farmers in Central Province on how to improve their crop production. Over 50 farmers in Mukubwe area have benefited from the training, which also encourages crop production.
Our farmers have been planting their crop, maize crop, at the planting spacing of 90 between the rows, and also 25 to 30 between the plants. And that one, it has been proven that it has reduced the productivity of the crop. So here what we are doing, we are planting the maize at 75 centimeters between the rows and 25 centimeters between the plants.
And an energy expert also demonstrated an effective and smart approach of charcoal production using simple machinery as a way of curbing the cutting down of trees, as it is destructive to the environment. Farmers in the area appreciated the training.
And these communities who are being empowered, they are not empowering them through money, as we call it here in our language. They were empowering them through ifilengwanalesa. Like so far, we have the seed growers. The seed growers, they are going to receive their seeds, their fertilizers, and the chemicals to apply in their fields. That will really help them. In the next year, we are sure that we shall even form up a seed bank for them.
Where we are trying to mainstream gender issues and issues of climate change. One can wonder, why are we talking about gender and issues of climate change? One of the things that we have noticed is that people who are affected by climate change in most cases are women. When we talk about issues of drought, we talk about flooding, the women are the ones who are forced to fetch a lot of water in long distances. So there we wanted to ensure that gender is mainstreamed in all the EBA system-based adaptation project, so that once they are carrying out activities, even women are involved in the decision-making processes. And also they are also involved in carrying out other activities, because a long time ago we discovered that most of the women are left behind in terms of project implementation.
For Zanis News, Mwangala Kapandula reporting in Zambia District, Central Province.
And in Northwestern Province, the Provincial Minister, Robert Lihefu, says the bilateral relations between Zambia and Angola is expected to lead to accelerated social and economic development. Mr. Lihefu was speaking during the second regional cooperation and cultural exchange between the Northwestern Provincial Administration and Moxico Province Administration of Angola. Here are the details.
These are Zambian and Angolan delegates who have gathered in Soca District to discuss social and economic issues pertaining to the two countries' development. Northwestern Province Minister Robert Lihefu has welcomed the delegates.
Our national leaders are expecting us to make tremendous progress with regard to the actualization of these development-related issues. It is my sincere conviction that before this second region cooperation and cultural exchange meetings comes to a close, tangible and practical solutions will be arrived at and agreed upon through the government to government, government to business, and technical working group meetings.
Moxico Provincial Governor Ernesto Mwangala was also present at the meeting.
We are witnessing great activities of importance between our two countries that is marked by the development of the activities that we signed and which is intended between the two provinces, and also they are defined by the mechanisms of cooperation, essential cooperation in the areas of economic, socio-economic, cultural activities and other strategic areas.
Various stakeholders from both countries have aired their concerns.
So the Northwestern perspective looks at some of the challenges around the Robito as highlighted on my left. I cannot overemphasize the point around infrastructure, around custom and border procedure, there are trade barriers, information and communication technology.
This corridor, the Robito corridor, it has maintained with the rail line and the road system that was used to transport these people and essential things to other countries.
Florence Mustafa, Zanis, in Soca District, Northwestern Province.
Now, the Czech Republic has officially handed over a specialized ambulance to the University Teaching Hospital, UTH, Women and Newborn Section. The ambulance and its equipment were procured at a total cost of $85,000 United States dollars. Details in this report.
Neonatal ambulances are launched in order to ensure emergency transfers for neonates who require more specialist treatment at another hospital, and also for elective or back transfers to transfer recovering babies back to the hospital nearest to their homes. This is why Czech Republic government has officially handed over a specialized ambulance to the University Teaching Hospital, UTH, Women and Newborn Hospital. Minister of Health Sylvia Masebo received the ambulance on behalf of UTH.
You may wish to know that in the first quarter of this year, 2023, we had about 916 neonates from various facilities that were admitted in this neonatal intensive care unit here at the hospital. And of these, unfortunately, 180 died. We are here today to help many of these babies suffering to survive and not succumb to death. This specialized ambulance being donated today will ensure that these babies are transported safely, and this will reduce their vulnerability to developing several complications and untimely deaths. It's not just about an ambulance which is moving, like we see sometimes we just move babies, but we need to have the equipment inside the ambulance so that the necessary treatment can start even before we reach the hospital.
And Czech Republic Ambassador to Zambia, Malawi and Zimbabwe explained the importance of partnership between the two countries in the health sector.
The government will support Zambian healthcare in the future and continuing and expanding fruitful cooperation. My country, Czech Republic, this year also approved a new strategy engaging in Africa. And the Czech government has emphasized supporting healthcare system on the continent as a priority.
Meanwhile, Senior Medical Superintendent, Women and Newborn Hospital at UTH thanked Czech Republic and government for the gesture.
The presentation of a specialized ambulance, which, as you may know, for newborn babies, every minute, every second counts. So this is going to help us in bringing patients that will be referred from the various facilities located here in Lusaka safely, in a way that when they arrive here, they can, their outcomes can be improved.
Mona Chwende for Zanis in Lusaka.
We now move to Muchinga province, where a male ward at Soca District Hospital, whose roof was blown off 3 years ago due to heavy rains, has been replaced. Zanis staffer Miriam Komwenda reports that the structure, which has since been handed over to the District Health Administration, will reduce on the bed space challenges at the facility. Here are the details.
It has taken almost 3 years since the main ward at Soca District Hospital suffered a setback when the ward had its roof blown off following an heavy downpour, which occurred on 25th December 2020. There, the structure, whose work started in August 2022, has been completely rehabilitated to its original state and has been handed over to the Ministry of Health in the district for onward use.
Renovation of the male ward, which started in August 2022, has been successfully renovated at a cost of 893,511 kwacha 16 way. The initial phase was completed last year in October, while the last and final phase, which was tiling of the floor, started in September 2023 and was completed on 31st October 2023 due to logistical issues.
This rehabilitation had taken a bit of time because at some point we had faced the financial challenges. But I want to assure you that the ministry responded overwhelmingly and gave us the resources that we needed to complete the rehabilitation.
The contractor engaged to do the works is grateful to government for empowering the local contractors.
I want to thank government for recognizing our potential as local contractors. I'm a youth. I was given this contract and I managed to finish on time.
Miriam Kwenda reporting for Zanis in Soca District, Uchenga Province.
Acting Public Service Commission Chairperson Jorwe Beani is in Southern Province to monitor the ongoing recruitment exercise of health workers, speaking when he paid a courtesy call on Provincial Deputy Permanent Secretary Yolanta Malunga, who is also chairperson of the Provincial Human Resource Management Committee. Dr. Beani said out of the 3,000 health workers being recruited countrywide, Southern Province has been allocated 315 positions. Wakumelo Stalina reports.
The recruitment of the 3,000 health workers has reached an advanced stage. Public Service Commission Acting Chairperson Chore Beani is leading a delegation from the Commission to validate the list of selected candidates in Southern Province. The Commission is conducting the validation in the province to speed up the recruitment process.
This validation could have been held in Lusaka, but we have done this to quicken the process so that the employment process, the recruitment process can be concluded as quickly as possible. Therefore, when this validation takes place, no one will validate in Lusaka. Because we've done the validation as a commission and as a division, PSMD. This is the validation we're doing, meaning that once the validation is concluded, those are the candidates.
Dr. Beani wants persons with disabilities and the locals to be prioritized in the validation process.
The purpose of our visit is to validate the list of the candidates who have been selected to fill the various vacancies under the Ministry of Health. I hope and trust that this process has given an opportunity for local candidates as well as persons with disabilities to be employed.
In Southern Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Yolanta Malunga, who is also the chairperson of the Provincial Human Resource Management Committee, assured the Commission of selecting the right candidates to fill up the over 300 positions allocated to the province.
We had 313 positions which our people in the province were applying for. We are actually ready. We have followed the guidelines, and especially when we mention about giving first period to the locals, that was done.
Wakumelo Study, Zanis in Choma District, Southern Province.
Thank you, Wakumelo, for that report. Now, Minister of Information and Media, Cornelius Mutra, says government is concerned with the increasing negative sentiments against women in leadership. Mr. Mutra, who is also chief government spokesperson, says women in leadership are being judged by their performance in comparison to men. The minister cited the recent attacks on the Speaker of the National Assembly, Nelly Moti, stating that her performance is being measured by her gender. Mr. Mutra appealed to the women folk to defend their fellow women, adding that traditional leaders and the community should also stand up against gender-based violence against women in leadership. The minister said this in Lusaka during the official opening of a two-day National GBV in Daba under the theme Enough is Enough, Stop GBV Now. Speaking earlier, the non-governmental gender organizations coordinating council chairperson Grace Sinkamba called on communities to break the silence and report GBV-related cases. And Young Women Christian Association National President Patricia Mwanga appealed to government and cooperating partners to increase support towards GBV-safe shelters. Now, Secretary to the Cabinet Patrick Kangwa has called on African countries to embrace regional integration to achieve meaningful development on the continent. Mr. Kangwa said this during a preliminary session chaired on his behalf by Permanent Secretary for Special Duties at Cabinet Office, Patrick Mucheleka, at the ongoing 42nd African Association for Public Administration and Management Roundtable Conference. Amos Zulu now reports.
To take this rare opportunity and privilege to invite the Secretary to the Cabinet, Mr. Patrick K. Kangwa, to come for the remarks.
It is day 3 of the 42nd African Association for Public Administration and Management, APAM Roundtable Conference in Livingstone. The conference, which has now gone into plenary sessions, is seeking to find ways on how Africa can realize the Sustainable Development Goals and the Agenda 2063 aspiration. Secretary to Cabinet Patrick Kangwa, through Permanent Secretary at Cabinet Office Patrick Mucheleka, chaired a plenary session on the topic 2 years of the African Continental Free Trade Area after.
Integration has been quite slow, so we need to indeed accelerate. I began by giving you the history of someone who had a dream of building a road from Cape Town all the way to Cairo. So this is the dream that we still have. In Zambia, we have demonstrated that we still have that vision for Africa by even naming our major road in Lusaka as Cairo Road. So we still have that dream of ensuring that integration works for Africa. It's about economic growth and poverty reduction for our people.
Panelists included Okata John Moti, a professor of public sector management and governance in Nigeria, who says the commitment of $100 million United States by cooperating partners towards the implementation of AFTA shows the potential that the African continent has. Professor Moti has also revealed that 47 out of the 57 African countries have put in protocols on the program, representing 87%.
$45 million coming from UK, the German government giving in $37.5 million between 20 and 2024, the Canadian $15 million in order to help the Secretariat support the development, the Danish government putting in $3.8 million, also helping the implementations of the program through UNECA. Now, this shows you how outside Africa there is a lot of importance attached to AFTA because of the potentials it has.
Zambia is hosting the 42nd APAM meeting from 5th to 8th December 2023 in Livingstone. The conference is being held under the theme Building Resilient Societies in Africa Through Effective Governance and Public Administration, an imperative from the realization of the SDGs and Agenda 2063 aspirations. Amos Zulu, Livingstone.
Now, government has reaffirmed its continued support to initiatives aimed at supplementing efforts in improving the provision of quality education, especially among the less privileged in the country. Minister of Education Permanent Secretary for Technical Services, Joel Kamoko, says this is because of the important role that the education sector plays towards contributing to economic development of the country. Mr. Kamoko said with the increased demand of education arising from the provision of free education, there is a need for positive collaboration between government and the private sector to effectively provide quality education. He said this in a speech read for him by Assistant Director Secondary Education Terry Changwa during the handover ceremony of a 1x4 classroom block at Kanyanja Community School, which has been constructed by IHS Towers. And IHS Chief Executive Officer Augustine Piri reiterated the important role that a good learning environment plays in achieving improved education standards in the country.
IHS, we thank you because you also share the same vision that our leaders have. The President is saying he wants to see all the children that are supposed to be in school to be in school. And it calls for hard work. As you are aware, the President has a clarion call that no pupil should sit on the floor by the end of this year. So when you come in handy like that, sir, you are helping us to implement the call from His Excellency. So we thank you very much, sir. Following the introduction of free education, which we call Education for All, there will continue to be high attendance in the government school facilities. And therefore, support from private sector partners, such as IHS Zambia, will be key in meeting the demand for classrooms, desks, and learning materials.
As the largest independent provider of shared telecommunication infrastructure here in Zambia, we have a physical presence in all the regions in Zambia. For us, this means we are committed to giving back to communities where we operate. We have sustainability initiatives, such as the one that we have committed here. With the introduction of free education in Zambia, there is now even more demand for classroom space. We therefore did not hesitate to give approval to the school to be rehabilitated under our 2022 school rehabilitation project.
We move back to Western Province. Beneficiaries of the Food Security Pack inputs under the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services in Mwinilunga District have praised government for empowering them with farming inputs. Details in this report by Obed Lijimo.
One after another, they collect their farming inputs for the 2023-2024 season. These are vulnerable but viable farmer beneficiaries of the Food Security Pack in Minyanya zone of Mwinilunga District. Each one of them is receiving 2 by 50 kg D compound, 1 by 50 kg urea fertilizers, and a 10 kg each for legumes and maize seed.
Tudimi twanguri kuronda yakuda itukwashikumu mutitungiro chetu kumanishanzara mu matare yetu situkudima situkwangura tukufundisha nyifuku yedi situkwenda tuyifundisha ina nyifuku tukayirandishana mari akatukwashatse mwizamvu mutwashikama.
District Community Development Officer Lunza Imwiko says 1,138 farmers in the district are benefiting this season.
So our word to the beneficiaries that have received is that once they harvest their produce, they should not rush to sell everything. First of all, what they need is to ensure that the household is food secure. They have enough food to see them up to the next harvest season.
Ms. Imwiko warns beneficiaries against selling or sharing the inputs.
These inputs or their pack should not be shared because the pack that we are giving them is meant to enable them cultivate 2 limas of maize. So if they share, it means that the production at that household level will be reduced. So
the district received a total of 1,138 urea, 2,276 D compound fertilizers, 1,138 by 10 kg maize seed, 988 by 10 kg beans, and 200 by 10 kg soya beans. Reporting for Zanis, Obed Lijimo in Mwinilunga District, Northwestern Province.
And in a related development, over 150 disabled-headed households in Kasama District have received farming inputs under the Food Security Pack program being implemented by the Department of Community Development. Tawanga Nkoma covered the distribution exercise and now reports.
Kasama District in Northern Province has a caseload of 3,261 beneficiaries under the Food Security Pack FSP program, which is implemented by the Department of Community Development. The farming inputs are given to vulnerable but viable farmers with the view to increase production and fighting poverty at household level. Kasama District Commissioner Elizabeth Goma today witnessed the disbursement of inputs to over 150 disabled-headed households under the Food Security Pack program.
This is the last batch that we are giving out. We started this process a long time ago,
and we are happy to say it has been going on very smoothly. So at the moment, I think we are just finalizing. Kuno Northern Province, we have a very good pattern of rains, and we believe that everyone who's accessing these inputs should put them to good use. We want everyone to have a field so that we don't complain about milling. So we believe most of our people in Kasama have benefited.
District Community Development Officer Godfrey Mwansa gives an insight of the program in the district.
Kasama has basically distributed more than 3,000 so far, and the total number that we have is 3,261 beneficiaries that the government of Zambia has actually allocated for Kasama District, considering that we have 2 constituencies and we have a bigger caseload compared to other districts.
Meanwhile, Boniface Sichirima, a beneficiary, says the inclusion of differently abled people on government program resonates well with the government's agenda of not leaving anyone behind.
We appreciate the President of the Republic of Zambia, His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, for his heart of working with people, not living, even persons with disability. For what we are witnessing today, this is a very good gesture. And as persons with disability, we promise to say we are not going to disappoint him.
For Zanis, I'm Taonga Nkoma.
Now, about 7,000 cooperatives in Muchinga province are targeted for support under the Hagainde Entrepreneur Mentorship Initiative in the first year of its implementation. The initiative, which is being implemented by Farmers Development Cooperative Union, is a platform through which President Hakainde Hichilema, in his own capacity, desires to share his long life entrepreneurship experience in business. Here are the details.
A cooperative initiative aimed at nurturing and empowering the present and next generation of entrepreneurs that will drive the economical growth and innovation that will foster social and economic development has been launched in Muchinga province. The Hakainde Entrepreneur Mentorship Initiative is a platform that the head of state, in his own private capacity, wants to use to share his long entrepreneurial experience. Muchinga Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Reverend Matthews Chilekwa graced the launch this morning in Chinsali District.
Aiming to target and support a minimum of 7,000 cooperatives or consortium of cooperatives in Muchinga Province in its first year of program implementation. The cooperatives will subscribe to the mentorship concept, which will be expected to undergo a conceptual mindset transformation about what cooperatives is. The priority sectors will include natural resources conservation, agriculture, mining, tourism, education, energy, banking, among others.
The coordinator for the HEM program gave a brief background of the program.
Farmers Development Cooperative Union is a private entity, a cooperative union that was registered in March this year with the main purpose of promoting investment in Zambians by Zambians for Zambia.
The residents have welcomed the initiative. We have welcomed this program and we are ready to work. Miriam Kumwenda reporting for Zanis in Muchinga province.
The Department of National Parks and Wildlife has reaffirmed its commitment to protecting wildlife from lead poisoning. And speaking when she officially opened a 2-day training workshop on lead poisoning in vultures and other wildlife in Lusaka, Wildlife Acting Director Victoria Msonda said government is keen to partner with various stakeholders to protect wildlife. More in this report.
Lead poisoning not only affects humans but also wildlife, such as birds, which die in numbers when exposed to lead. Birds are critical to cleaning the environment through feasting of carcasses, but are under threat due to increasing lead poisoning through poaching, among other factors. To tackle the problem of lead poisoning in birds, especially vultures and other wildlife, Birds Life International and Bird Watch Zambia, among other organizations from South Africa, Kenya, Zimbabwe, among others, have gathered in Lusaka to devise solutions to mitigate the problem. The Department of National Parks and Wildlife, Acting Director, explains that government is keen to preserve wildlife.
Department of National Parks and Wildlife, and indeed our mandate is to conserve, protect and manage wildlife in Zambia. And so as our mandate, it is our key interest as government to see and identify relevant stakeholders or stakeholders that would help us actually manage this resource that we have on behalf of the people of Zambia. So with that mandate that we have, we welcome all of you that have shown keen interest in helping us to protect this very valuable asset that we have, which is wildlife. It's an asset that we need to treasure. It's an asset that cannot be found everywhere. It's a rare asset that we have. And so as Zambia, we are privileged to have that asset. And as such, we will do all what is necessary to ensure that our asset is protected.
Loveleta Sebele is Senior Voucher Conservation Officer, Southern Africa, and shares her experiences.
Today we are here in Zambia for a lead workshop where we are working with authorities within Zambia to look at the effects of lead on vultures and to work on finding solutions to vulture poisoning. Vulture poisoning from lead is mainly from lead ammunition. When carcasses are shot with lead ammunition and vultures feed on those carcasses, they become poisoned by lead, which tends to replace calcium in the vulture bodies.
Birdwatch Zambia Program Manager highlighted the objectives of the training workshop.
So the objectives of this workshop, firstly, is to bring an understanding of lead exposure and where lead is coming from in the environment, to bring an awareness of the impacts of lead on wildlife, not only wildlife, the environment, and even humans. But also we want to foster collaboration between stakeholders who are present here to come up with solutions on how to address this issue of lead. We promote the study and conservation of birds and biodiversity, and we take action for species, especially threatened species. And so our core business is to address any threats to the species of birds and their habitats.
It is hoped that the meeting will indeed help find ways of preventing the declining numbers of wildlife, especially vultures, in the country and beyond the borders. Sandra reporting for Zanis in Lusaka.
The Barotse Royal Establishment says it will continue making headways in the preservation of natural resources to reduce the adverse effects of climate change in Western Province. Here are the details.
Red Cross Society of Zambia is playing a pivotal role in supplementing the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit DMU in its structural and institutional framework in combating the effect of climate change in Western Province.
Forests provide an ecosystem goods and services. Considering that the rural communities in Zambia are heavily dependent on woodlands to support their self-subsistence agricultural livelihoods, the government is promoting a participatory approach by working with the local communities to set aside specific areas under sustainable forest management.
Due to the increased frequency of climate-related hazards, the Zambia Red Cross Society, in collaboration with the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit in the province, under the first pillar, the Disaster Risk and Management pillar, whose focus is to strengthen and build the capacity of government structures at all levels. We are now in Western Province, where we are collaborating again with the DMMU to try and build capacity and strengthen the operation of the Provincial Disaster Management Committee in the province.
And the Barotse Royal Establishment challenges the people of Western Province to work with government in the preservation of forests in the area.
We have chosen to preserve this forest for our future coming generations. If you look at what's happening today, this tree we are under, the Mzauri tree, which we call rosewood, is being depleted. So if these things are not preserved, our children won't know these things. Look at the climate nowadays. Due to the fact that our forests have been depleted, even the rainfall pattern has changed. Hence this climate change problem that we have. So we are there to preserve our forests, for us to have enough rains.
Roger Shepherd reporting for Zanis in the Murunga district of Western Province.
And finally in the news, the 21-year-old small-scale miner who was retrieved yesterday at Senseli mine in Chingola where over 31 miners are still trapped, has been put to rest today. Details in this report.
Mourners today gathered to witness the burial of the 21-year-old small-scale miner Charles Mungonde, who died at Senseri mine in Chingola district. Mungonde was among the 3 people who were retrieved in the tunnel where more than 31 small-scale miners are still trapped. Earlier, Copper Belt Minister Elisha Matambo and Chingola Member of Parliament Chipoka Mlenga and other senior government officials visited the funeral house in Chabanyama in Chwempala area in Chingola.
This is an agreement which was reached between the government and the family. I think my brother here represents the family. So in short, from the 3 of our victims who were retrieved, we said 1 was alive, and we retrieved 2 bodies who were dead. And one of the bodies, I think, was not in good state. And this is the family member, and this is the funeral house. And we decided and agreed that we should put to rest our young brother this afternoon. So we have done everything as government. We've taken almost 100% of all the expenses to bury our young brother and give him a funeral which is dignified.
The family representative has thanked the government for being with all the affected families.
But we are so grateful that we felt comforted that there's been high concern from government to ensure that everything possible in the positive way is done to ensure that our dear relatives are retrieved, and those, unfortunately, who are not alive are put to rest in the most dignified manner. And this burden was going to be very difficult if we had to handle it alone as a family. And we extend truly to the Copper Belt leadership and the government officials for being with us. Like last night, we spent up to 23 hours.
Chingola Member of Parliament is happy with the unity the people of Chingola have exhibited.
Panchita ya masanso ndefo kumitotela bonse mwebekashibwa uno musumba na uno mchabanyama iliyo chichitike na chikuma abantu bonse. But I have seen that Chingola has come to be very united, and I have come to see nabena chabanyama bonse, they've come to see and mourn and encourage Luno Lupwa, and a direction that was even led by His Excellency the President, who first even made the contribution towards Shonse Ndupwesha Rufisha Abantu. Ndefa fikuleta kutotela pakalamba sana kubekashwa mchingola, but I insist, let us continue praying and committing even our neso kutula senda kulilesa wesu.
The rescue team has so far retrieved 3 people. Among them, 2 were found dead and 1 was alive. Mungonde has been buried early because the body was not in good condition, and the search for other trapped miners has continued. Tovini Ngombe, Zanis, Chingola.
As we end Zanis News, we recap on the headlines once again. Over 50 farmers trained in smart agriculture. Regional integration key to achieving meaningful development. Presidential Mentorship Initiative to empower 7,000 cooperatives. And Department of National Parks and Parks reaffirms commitment to protect wildlife. Well, thank you so much for your time. On behalf of the Interzanis production team, my name is Juliet Mtele saying bye-bye and God bless.